The Dead Man. What a film. Just really great job to you guys. The performer, kudos to you, because for you to carry this whole thing with no dialogue and just your expressions, well done. Because that can be really difficult to not overact, and I thought you did amazing. I kept waiting to see this man in a hospital bed at the end because I felt like this is what he was experiencing before he died. Just all of these shots and just the whole thing was so well done. The boat shot was really cool when he was laying in the boat, and also the boat going into the fog. The music set the tone in the beginning, felt mysterious and melancholy. Just nice, subtle performance by the actor again. Had to say that more than once. When he was holding the headphone piece to the actual phone piece, to me, that made me laugh. It was just comparing those two things and wondering where the sound was coming from, but it was just also just that visual just was really cool. I liked it a lot. I really liked that. It was just when he held those next to each other, it just made me chuckle. In the tablecloth made me laugh too. When the tablecloth just plunked down right in front of him, it made me laugh. So there was even laughter in this like melancholy sort of, I mean, he was dead, right? Like the title says The Dead Man. So it could have just dragged me down, but there were some great comedic moments that made me laugh. And it did kind of have my favorite movie's tone, I thought, throughout, which was The Shining. I just felt like it had some Shining moments, like the feel to it. Great acting, again, great reactions to the things that are happening. When you saw yourself, too, I'm speaking to the actor here, seeing himself in the water from, you know, the place that he was at, I think it was like a subway or train or something to that effect. That was super cool, and him handing himself the coin to go to heaven or hell, wherever he was going. In my opinion, he was in purgatory at the moment, and he was headed to where he was going, or he was on his deathbed going to the next place. And that token, and the person he handed the token to, of course, was extremely creepy looking. So I'm like, is he going to hell? And where is this guy going? I hope he's going to heaven. But when he reacted, seeing himself in the water, but it was actually, I think, the creepy person's face, because it looked the same. I wasn't 100% sure if it was the same person or not, but when he looked in that barrel of water, he was taken aback by the face, and it had the same creepy eyes as that person he gave the token to. So really great reaction on that too. A lot of times when actors are reacting to these things, the actual effect isn't there, so you have to react to something that's not even there. Really well done, super cool, creative. I like this a lot, so great job.
Alright, I just finished watching The Dead Man, which I ended up really enjoying. I actually had forgotten the title was called The Dead Man, so when I watched it, I didn't realize, you don't necessarily realize what's going on. You sort of assume that it's about death. Obviously, the title lets you know, but the piece I thought had a really interesting sort of transitive or in transit sort of kind of idea based around what was going on, him traveling between worlds, and I thought it had a really great sense of mood that was established, not just through what was on screen, but through the darkness sequences as well. I thought it created a really sort of eerie vibe that I thought worked quite well. The black and white aesthetic I thought worked well as well. And I thought that the moving towards the end, the closing sequences around the boat, I thought just had a variety of striking images. Obviously, the woman or the alien type woman at the end was quite striking, but just there was a lot of sort of mythological ideas, I thought, biblical or spiritual ideas about the traveling between worlds, the transition of death, an exploration of life after death. So I thought that all those ideas were trying to be explored in a very interesting stylistic approach by avoiding a full narrative construct, but trying to approach it with more of a mood and a vibe with music and editing and visual images. So I thought that it really worked in that sense, and it had a great rhythm and pace that I thought contributed to why that approach ended up working for this piece. So I thought it was well done, quite striking, a little on the long side, but I thought it works well for the overall mood of the piece, very meditative sort of vibe. So I ended up enjoying it and thought it was quite well done.
I thought A Dead Man was so incredibly well done. I thought it was incredibly creative by all the people involved. I think they took a lot of risks, um, which paid off. I really liked that they played a lot with the visual and audio. I noticed that there was always some sort of sound that was kind of like taking your attention, whether it was a phone ringing or a siren or some sort of alarm, a chime maybe. There was always kind of something, and and when he would wake up in these new places, oh my gosh, the that scene where he wakes up in the water or in the boat on the water. And I know it's black and white, but the lighting was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. And it was like he was like finally at peace a little bit, and he was just there cutting his onions. Um, I'm not sure what the significance of it was, but it was just such a glorious shot. I was like, wow. So I thought this film was super unique, super well done. I loved all of the creative choices that the team made, and just like what a wonderful experimental piece. Great job.
I just got done watching The Dead Man. This was pretty cool. I think that your actor did a fantastic job. The makeup and everything that they did with him. And I always love it when a filmmaker is brave enough to do black and white. And you guys did black and white so amazingly. You found the richness in the tones and you brought it out with the lighting. So I was definitely on board for that. I loved the bus that he was on. I thought that the concept of this was really, really cool. And you guys sold it so great. I like how you added back in different elements, like the owl that was there when he was first in the cafe, and you know where that owl was. I loved the special effects with the tablecloth. I thought that was great. My only at the beginning, my only concern was leaving it on a black screen for as long as it was. I kind of started to think that something was broken, that my computer was okay, and I ended up stopping and starting the film a couple of times before I realized, no, no, it's not broken. So I just wanted to let y'all know that, but I loved it. I thought that what you guys did was really clever.
The Dead Man. This was so interesting. I was really drawn to this. The older fellow who's bedraggled and seemingly very unwell, resisting death or the signs of death. And despite all these oddities of symbols like the owl, which can be a symbol for transformation or change, phones ringing, somebody's calling him towards that black curtain, and the seeing himself in the water. He's in the train, and his opposing self is in the water, almost as if it's from the other side. So, him getting the coin and then the boat sailing into the fog, we know this must be the transformation into the afterlife. And the restaurant keeper is cleaning up the dishes. When she looks at him out the door when he leaves the restaurant for the second time, I feel that's the time that we know, and she knows he's not going to return, and he will finally accept his fate. Black and white, everything about it, all the strangeness, the mysteriousness, beautiful music, classical accompaniment, really stirring.
Very cool. Just dark and very cool. I loved how the filmmakers were not afraid to let us sit in that dark for what I'm sure was for many a rather uncomfortable length of time. But I feel like it was a really strong, bold, smart choice that absolutely paid off. It was just so powerful, especially when coupled with the score, which was fantastic. Just such a great visual quality to this one. I think the black and white was another strong choice that absolutely paid off. There's no need for color in this film. It makes sense with just the tone, with everything we're seeing. And wow, what an expressive actor, too. Great casting. He does his own fair share of heavy lifting, carrying us through this, just with his presence alone, just really, really strong. Yeah, there's just a keen filmmaking sensibility shining through from everyone involved in this piece. It's all done to the highest level. Great work.
The dead man. Sound is a focus in this piece. It's black and white experimental. I noticed the ringing and the prominence of various sounds throughout. At times, there's sirens or chimes or ringing sounds that continue on, even in the absence of the visual. Whenever we lose visual, this character emerges in a new place. And in every emergence, he finds himself seated, participating in some sort of task that seems like a mundane task of organizing toothpicks, having tea, peeling onions. I would love to understand the significance of these tasks to the writer. But what I did really enjoy was the foreshadowing of the water in the shoe, which leads us right in the beginning to the ending. When I think of the title Dead Man, and the mundanity of some of these tasks that this man found himself in the repetition that you saw throughout this piece, it made me think, is this a representation of hell for him? Or is this a representation of purgatory or some sort of the afterlife, just based on the title itself? So I would really love to know more about what the writer's point of view was as far as what was the symbolic meaning of each of these tasks and if they related somehow to the representation of life.